Good evening, good evening. Welcome to Detroit in Black and White, our Friday evenings edition. Tonight we have on deck Eric Brown of Reality Strikes. Good evening, Eric Brown.
Uh, Buenas noches.
Oh, I see you got a haircut. And we also have the former chief of police of the Trenton Police Department, Mr. Jim Nardone. Hey, what's up, Jim?
Good evening. Good evening. Glad to have Eric tonight,
Yeah.
our esteemed co-host, and glad to have everybody out there. Queen Bee, hello to you. And let's have a lively show. Let's spice it up a little bit
Let's
tonight.
spice it up. Of course, you guys, I have to give the directions. I got to give
Yes.
orders. So, of course, you guys know who I am, Vanessa Moss, Attorney Vanessa Moss, candidate for Wayne County Probate Court. Listen, you guys already know what we want you to do. We want you to like, subscribe, and share. Tell all your friends about the greatest show on these YouTube streets. Subscribe, and share. You can catch us on all social media platforms every Wednesday, Friday evening from 8:30 to 9:30, and Saturday mornings from 10 to 11. You can also join us in the chat, like Janet overall. Hey, Janet. Hey, Queen. Hey, Jill. Listen, thank you so much for sharing, Janet. Um, you can
Oh,
also
Janet only speaking to Jim.
Janet says she
No,
shared. She's
sure.
speaking to everybody because she
I,
shared.
I mentioned Queen Bee this evening. I'm glad to see Queen Bee because sometimes she gets busy and she's not around. So she was the first one on tonight, and she's right on top of it. Thank you.
Oh, so Queen Bee only speaking to Jim.
No,
No. DeBrailer 5938. Good evening to you, DeBray.
so you got also do this. You can also come into the room. You know how you could come in the room? You could use this link in the top left-hand corner. Take your phone,
There you go.
go to the camera, and you can come on into the room. Listen, I want to thank you guys for joining us this Friday evening because you could be doing anything. There's a whole lot going on in the city, especially since the weather is so nice. But you guys decided to join us. So I am going to turn the reins over to Jim. I'm letting Jim run this thing tonight.
Well, I don't know about running, but got a few things I really like to talk about. Hello, less is more. What about the toxic, poisonous dirt holes? I like to talk about that. And we do need to talk about the buses because I promised we would talk about the buses. Good evening, Marlon Holt. Hope you're, wherever you are, you're warm today because it's warm and here. So, I started reading this article earlier today. I really thought I was being punked. I really thought it was fantasy. I was in complete disbelief. We all know, we're all aware of Donald Trump's administration and weaponization of government under people like Pam Bondi and Pete Hegseth and Kash Patel. This should be alarming to all Americans for numerous reasons. We need to keep our government in check. I opened up an X thing today, and I was on X, and it said that they just released some information from the Central Intelligence. If you look at that picture, it says CIA, Central Intelligence, and the Biden administration. In the last 48 hours, the CIA identified during the Biden administration, 2021, apparently, they identified a threat to our homeland. A group identified as it's REMVE. I'm not sure, but it's white ethnically motivated violent extremists. And these women, the goals of these violent extremists, and this is true. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. I verified it. That's a CIA directive. The goal of these women they are promoting motherhood and homemaking as indicators of an internal homeland security threat. And I'm not sure if this is from the school board issues that were going on when the parents were fighting at the school board and the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, assigned people to that. But this is beyond. It's incredible. Really, our Central Intelligence Agency is reporting that they're looking at women overseas that might be part of this group of people that are promoting motherhood and homemaking.
Well, let's say traditional motherhood,
Sure.
which when you sent it to me, I was like, yeah, whatever. This cannot be real. And of course, I did some more research, but I just found it interesting. What the hell does traditional motherhood mean? And then it says in homemaking. Uh, it's disturbing.
I'd like to know what our viewers think. I mean, you can see that's essential. Can you put that up again, Teresa, just for a second? If you look in the left-hand corner, it is a directive from the Central Intelligence Agency, our intelligence agency that's working overseas and working here, that's trying to protect the people of this country that we pay millions and millions of dollars to this organization, and they're worried about traditional motherhood and homemaking.
Well, let me read this. I read it says, right REMVEs
Yes.
and their sympathizers have claimed in online posts that it is essential for white families to have as many biological children as possible to counter the rising birth rates among non-white populations. White REMVEs allege that this rise is a conspiracy, which they have termed the Great Replacement, the assessment states.
The bigger question to everybody, to you, Eric and Vanessa, and to all our viewers, Ken and Les and Queen Bee and Bridget, hey Bridget, is what the heck's going on with our government? We talk about Trump doing this, and it's terrible. We don't want our government interfering with this. What is going on? I mean, it's shocking to me.
So when you say we, you talking for Jim, right?
No, I'm talking for everybody. I don't think that's the role of the federal government, whether it's Donald Trump. The bigger question is, why is the government doing these kind of things? Why are they weaponizing the federal government? And that, I know you're kidding, but what can they have to gain by identifying this group of people as a threat to the homeland overseas?
Look, they've deemed Black folks as threats to the United States. They've deemed, especially during the time when women were fighting for their rights, as threats to the federal government. I don't find this strange at all. I find it disturbing. Eric?
Thank you, Dorian, too. Thank you. Yes, we know what the CIA's done. We know about Cuba and Venezuela and Nicaragua, and the list goes on. But
you got Bobby Sanchez that's saying that the document that you put up is a lie. So maybe he can elaborate on why he is stating that. But at the end of the day, the CIA has weaponized many demographic groups in America. CIA is responsible for played a role in the 1980s drug smuggling, or putting the stuff in the neighborhood to either eliminate the Black community or find a way to get the Black community to get hooked on drugs, kill themselves off, and those that did not kill themselves off find their way to a concrete motel all across the country, be it a state prison or a federal prison. Again, we only make up 13% of the population. Black men only make up about 6% of the population. But how is it that like 48% of the prison population are Black people? So,
yeah, I like Jim. When I saw that, Jim, when you sent it to me, I was like, no, let me do my own research.
Right.
And so I've read several articles, and I felt like that ex post, actually, it didn't go far enough. It could be very misleading as far as I'm concerned. So that's why I decided to do my research. But, like I said, I find it disturbing. I don't find it strange. I thought it was interesting. They warned about the Great Replacement theory.
And that's the old so-called great replacement, that is one of the talking points, so to speak, of Project 2025. And that's why I tell people all the time, the opportunity to prevent him from becoming the president again was there before everybody's eyes, dating all the way back to the end of 2020.
Who are you talking about?
Donald Trump. I mean, Project 2025 is part of the replacement theory, but people chose to not coalesce, not form coalitions, not vote, and he got in office again. But you still have people complaining when they had opportunity to try and do something to prevent him from getting in office. So it's like, the complaints at this point fall on deaf ears with me, because he has over 1,030 days left in his administration. He's not going anywhere unless he gets sick and die or get assassinated. He will be there until January 20th, 2029. So, I mean, at the end of the day, nothing we can do about it at this point. Just do better in 2028. That's all we can do.
So what's going to be interesting, because this came out with the CIA FOIA request under the Biden administration. What's going to come after the current president leaves office? What are we going to find out then? I mean, like I said, it's disturbing. I really, after you sent it to me, Jim, and after I read articles, I was like, I really don't even want to talk about it. But we are.
So why don't you talk to our friends then, Vanessa?
We are.
Talk to our friends, because I've got more tonight. I've got some good stuff.
Okay, great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a couple of shout outs. Should we go to commercial now to a break?
Yes. And then we can talk to our friends.
Let's go to break.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. Are you living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, or maybe you know someone who's in the same situation? The probate process may be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. We have several nonprofit partners who have free attorneys who can assist you. Contact our office, 313-224-5990, or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. Don't lose your family property. Some of these properties have been in the family for 4 or 5 generations. Contact us now. We're here to help.
We're back, Detroit in Black and White, our Friday evenings edition. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We're here tonight with Eric Brown and Jim Nardone and myself, Vanessa Moss. I want to give a shout out to Les Bohr, says, and I guess that's something we could talk about tonight. What about the toxic, poisonous dirt holes in over 600 sites where houses were demolished? Bridget Huff,
people are talking about it. So what we gonna talk about it for? The people are letting it exist, and they're not saying anything about it. So, yeah.
So Kenneth Powell said, hey, he said, like, share, edutainment. He said, Eric Brown on Friday evening live. Janet Saluk, hey, Janet. He said, who was that? Les says it's becoming overwhelming. Dorian Denard says, that's the worst thing the CIA did. Jim, they have toppled world leaders, including presidents here. Kenneth Powell said, barefoot in the kitchen.
Not disagreeing with Dorian.
Sanchez says that's a lie. Dorian says government was handed over to the MIC when the government murdered JFK. Angela Beatty said, oh my God. Miss Sheila said, Mr. Jim, follow the coin chase. That's your answer.
Hey, Miss Sheila. Good evening to you.
And Marlon, I cannot agree. Can't we just all be one America? Edward, all good evening. Brown, Eric, 1964. Oh, he answered him.
Yeah.
We also
know he is.
Who else? Marlon says, who takes credit for it? During Dinar says CIA pit drugs. Eric already talked about that. And I think that is it with our comments.
Kenneth is talking about McShane's, and we've had a conversation about getting back to McShane's. We are missing Allan tonight and Adolph. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have a few of the people. So I just want to say thanks for tuning in for the three of us. We're mixing it up a little bit. If there's something you guys don't like or you do like about the show, is it better with 3? Is it better with 4? If you have an opinion, if we have too many guests or too few, go ahead and speak up. We're not offended. We're just trying to get better. Hello, Tracy.
Hey, Tracy. And listen, if there's something you want to talk about and you don't want to put in the comment section, we've already said you're invited to come into the room. So if you don't want to come into the room, of course, you can put your comments in the comment section. But we're inviting you in as a host, a guest on Detroit in Black and White. Okay. Okay, Jim, it's your show.
Another one? I want to talk about, this is tragic, and I think there's a message for all of us, is Cesar Chavez. You know, he's a hero to many millions of people, but he's also a tyrant, a power-hungry dictator, a rapist, and a pedophile. And we know that. We can say that he hasn't been convicted of any of these things, but when the person that was to his right, sounds like she had a little bit of the Stockholm syndrome, Dorothy Huerta. She says that he raped her on numerous occasions when she was in her 20s. And, you know, we have a school in Detroit. It's a charter school, Cesar Chavez Academy. And the bigger question is, should we quit naming? Should we quit making heroes out of these people? Because they're just human beings and we all have faults. But this guy was not a good guy, right? You know, this Dolores Huerta, I saw an interview with her, John Quinones, who she said, well, the reason I didn't tell people was because I didn't want to, you know, stop the good that we were doing. That, I mean, it's crazy. You know, he's accused of raping a 12 and a 13-year-old girl. They're women now, of course. He died in 1993, but you know, in my community, when I was in middle school, when they opened another middle school, it's called a middle school, it's really a junior high school, and it was named after, of all things, we're talking about the government, J. Edgar Hoover. So J. Edgar Hoover Middle School in Taylor, which closed in 2025. We need to quit naming these schools after some of these people. What are your thoughts? What do our friends think?
Well, what's interesting about Cesar Chavez, I mean, you know, he's passed away now, but, you know, and Dorian Denard hit the nail on the head. You know, we as people have to quit putting these individuals on pedestals, number one. We as people have to quit treating them as celebrities. But then at the same time, the flip side of that is the hypocrisy. Ben Carson, I don't care what no one says, Dr. Ben Carson did a lot in the medical field. And only because of him being tied to an administration that they removed his name from a school, when Black kids in Detroit need that type of person to look up to based on his contributions to the medical society. But because he was in an administration, you know, you didn't take, I mean, you got a lot of former council people who have named schools named after them. You know, Bates Academy is named after Alonzo Bates. He wasn't the most pristine person in the world.
Well, who is the most pristine person? And let me say this: when you talk about Dr. Carson, is a Black school board that decided to take that Black man's name off of a predominantly Black school district. So clearly they didn't think it was important for his name to remain on the school.
They did it based on politics. You know, politics does not play a role in it. And if you use it, if you're using the school board that is as inept as anything that there is in the world, and they making a decision based on politics when they're in their roles, you know, because of politics, some of them probably don't even know his contributions. And to take his name off of a building only because of his ties to an administration that
for them
Black people don't like, it's ridiculous.
You're minimizing it. You're saying only because for the people.
That is the only reason they took. No, why did they take his name off the building, Vanessa? The only reason they took his name off the building because of his ties to the Trump administration. That's the only reason.
Excuse me. You're minimizing it by saying only. They didn't feel that it was just something as small as an only. That's why they did it. Now, you may not agree with it. There may be other people that didn't agree with it. But guess what? It has been done, and it's going to continue to be done. That's done all over the country, removing names off of buildings, schools, etc.
Removing names off of buildings and schools across the country is based on those individuals that play a role in slavery, those that individuals play a role in the demeanment of Black people, those people that play a role in being involved with the KKK. Dr. Ben Carson did not deserve his name to be taken off of a building in the city of Detroit public school system at all.
Well, I say that's your opinion, and obviously they didn't feel that way. And I will say that I've talked to a lot of people, and you have too, who felt like, yes, name should come off the building. And
but I've also talked to a lot of people that felt his name should not have come off the building.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I've talked to more people that felt his name should not have come off the building for the reasons that I stated. He was a stellar individual in the field for which the building was named after. The building was for people that want to pursue a career in the healthcare field. What better person in the city of Detroit than to put on that building than Ben Carson?
Well, they said no, and guess what? You said is politics played a role. Absolutely.
Well, ineptness played a role. Ineptness played a role.
It plays a role in everything.
Ineptness played a role more so than anything else.
You don't like it because you don't like it. And guess what?
No, I don't like it because it was an example. It was an example of individuals
that like it, and guess what? It was done.
It was an example of individuals majoring in a minor. They can't even get the goddamn fucking school district together with regards to the students who have been at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to test scores, but they want to remove a name off of a building.
Eric.
But you keep Alonzo Bates' name on the building. Alonzo Bates has done much worse than what Ben Carson has done, other than being a part of an administration that people do not like. So they are inept, and that's why the city of Detroit education system is inept, because you have an elected board that are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they should all be recalled.
Whose name replaced Dr. Ben Carson's name on the school?
The Brailer.
And who is that?
No, that's the Brailer who's asking the question. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't know, because Ben Carson, I still call it Carson Academy, so I couldn't tell you whose name is on it. So whoever name is on it don't deserve to be on it.
Oh, I don't know whose name is on it either.
Les is giving it to you.
Say that. But yeah,
Jim, they cuss more than me, Les. Trust me.
They said Jim with a 2 question marks, right, Jim?
Hey, True Sensation. Good to see you. What did I do? She keeps me in line. True Sensation does. That's for sure. Hero worshiping comes in many forms, including statues and names on buildings. Americans are truly miseducated and vapid. Dorian, thank you, Dorian. I'm here, True Sensation. I'm doing my best. Received my GED at Crockett Adult Education. Kenneth Powell, thank you, Kenneth. Clean talk, Eric. Your students may be watching. Less is more. Ben Carson was not a slaveholder. Marlon Holt, thank you, Marlon. But people keep electing the same school board. Queen B, we with you, Miss Sheila says. Mr. Eric, when you're right, I don't know. Maybe she doesn't think you're right that much. But she is with you when you're right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Black school board.
Go ahead.
Being prejudiced towards a Republican black man, Mr. 1213. Good evening to you.
He's exactly right.
So I think it's interesting that there's this criticism, but people continue to elect the same people on the school board. Don't hold the school board accountable. Don't hold the superintendent accountable. Don't hold any of the other elected officials accountable. But I'm going to use your phrase, BMW, right? BMW. and BMW doesn't fix anything. It doesn't fix anything. So,
because people were rather have the mentality of BMW as opposed to doing what's necessary to change things. The people have the power to fix whatever they want to fix. There's an article that came out on the 18th in Chalk Week magazine, and it talks about, Governor Whitmer, her last thing she want to do before she leave office is improve the school system, which she won't be able to do between now and December 31st of this year. And it speaks about how we're all responsible for the system being as bad as it is. And we are, because if you want to see how bad the school system is, no matter where you at, the simple test, and I did this today. I was at a restaurant. The bill came to $18.84. I told the cashier I had the 85 cents. She looked at me like a deer in headlight. She giving me back $3.85. So, and this was an older young lady. She was beyond high school age, and this was in the suburbs. So the educational system is jacked. Not enough people care about it. No matter who posts on social media about education, it gets very little traction. But the minute you talk about who the best basketball player, who the best songwriter, who the best singer, who the best performer, people will go back and forth for days at a time debating about that. But then they want to get mad when you call them on the carpet and tell them to quit bitching, moaning, and whining about politics if they're not willing to to do what's necessary to make a change.
Eric, you have a question. I'm going to let you answer in a second, but I want to get a couple more comments. Tamari Kemet. Yes, Tamari, I know how to say your name. We're in a war, and 5,000 of our people are being sent to their deaths. Who cares about Ben Carson being removed? Big picture, shaking her head. Thank you, Tamari. Queen B, right, Vanessa. People clap for the school board when they strip Carson's name, but don't hold them accountable for removing opportunity for children in Detroit. Slaveholders are named on schools and cities and streets in Marlin. Absolutely right. Crockett Midtown High School of Science and Medicine from Ben Carson, according to AI. Thank you, Less is More. That seems like a long name. Mm-hmm. Here's one, Edward All. I'm going to let you answer this because you're the expert on this, Eric.
I'm sorry.
Edward All.
Yep. Go ahead.
I don't see it.
It says, how is it that, whoops, I just lost it. How is it that we donate so much freaking tax money into education? We're still in the upper 40s across the states.
I mean, what do you mean by the upper 40s?
I think that's test scores.
Well, actually, Michigan is currently ranked 44th in the country.
Yeah, maybe that's what he meant.
When they come to educational outcomes. And the problem is no one is holding these school districts accountable. I mean, the average person, I just wrote about this recently, the average person has no idea that in 2016, it was students, not parents, not the school board, not teachers. It was students in 2016 that sued the state of Michigan for a quality education, students from Detroit. The sad part about it, lawyers that took the case were not from Michigan, were not from Detroit, were not from Illinois, were not from Indiana. The lawyers that took the case were all the way from out in California.
Really?
Then there was a settlement for $94 million. And again, they won't know where the taxpayers went. The average person cannot even tell you how that $94 million is being spent. Well, no, they're 44th. We're all 44th, not 48. They 44.
A very good friend of mine is in the education business, and he was a principal. I'm not gonna out him. He said he may come on the show, but he talked in reference to test scores, how some of these suburban communities are bragging about their test scores, and they're not comparing their scores to neighboring communities. They're comparing their test scores to communities like Flint and Saginaw and Detroit, which is an outrage to me if that's a fact. I don't know if that's true or not, but he believes that to be true. And I hopefully I can have him on and he can talk about it. But when you have, we need to educate everybody, but you need to be honest with the way you're reporting scores too. And I don't know that we're doing that. So,
well, the scores are available. You can go to the MyStep website. You can find out for any school in the state of Michigan, all 83 counties. You can go to each school district, which there are over 700 school districts in the state of Michigan. You can find out the test scores for any school, charter or public. And, the information is there. So as far as comparing it to the city of Detroit, Flint, or Pontiac, Muskegon, Benton Harbor, I mean, it's an unfair comparison, but it's still a legitimate comparison because you can still go to any school district and find out how these students are doing. But you can also go, and I did this myself a couple of years ago. Macomb County has 23 cities. When I put a petition together to put a new fraternity chapter out in Macomb County, one of the reasons I stated was education, in the state of education, Macomb County. In every last one of those 23 cities, Black boys and girls were at the bottom of the educational outcome for all 23 cities. Plymouth Canton, Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti, Garden City, Westland, Wayne Westland, same school district. At the bottom of the totem pole for educational outcome are Black students, no matter what school district you go in across this state. So why are people so silent about something that can be easily fixed?
It can be fixed.
Yeah, it can be fixed. But people are silent about it, not just parents, not just teachers, and teachers are worn out. I mean, I talked to a friend of mine on Wednesday. They have 6 weeks left of school. They come to school every day in kindergarten. I was blown away when she told me that she has a kindergarten at her school that cannot even count to 20 yet. Here we are 6 weeks away from the end of the school year. This person will be going to the first grade come September of 2026. The parents are not saying anything. And that's something that a student should have learned before they even got into school. A parent should have taught their kids how to count before they start kindergarten.
Well, Eric, we're gonna go to a break and we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about the poisonous dirt. Detroit Black and White, our Friday evening's edition.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabria, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
We're back, Detroit Black and White.
Let me address one comment right quick, Vanessa and Jim.
Let me finish. We're back, Detroit Black and White, our Friday evening's edition with Eric Brown and Jim Nardone and myself, Vanessa Moss. Okay, go ahead and finish your comment, Eric.
And this is Celeste Moore. Do not tell me that I'll be on subliminal hate for Black students. I am a Black man with 2 Black kids. I am a mentor for Black kids. I am a track coach for Black kids. I do not have the control of dealing with white kids, Asian kids, Hispanic kids, Middle Eastern kids. My concern is bettering Black kids. So if you're offended by my attack in the way I approach the educational process, there's a thing called a radio. There's a thing called a television. There's a remote control. Turn me off.
No.
Because don't tell me that I am subliminally hating on Black kids when my process and my the educational outcome of Black kids.
Quit.
All right.
They're messing with you. Don't turn us off. We understand. Eric, Eric, no one works harder to educate kids than Eric Brown, and I applaud you, but we don't want to lose any viewers. We don't have that many viewers we can't afford to lose our viewers, but we appreciate communicating with each other.
Well, see, hold on. This is why I get this. This was pisses me off. Don't say because I live in Plymouth or Canton. I don't even live in Detroit. And I can guarantee you, Les, I'm doing more for Detroit kids, a place I do not even live.
Quit.
What are you doing for Black kids? What are you doing for the Black race? So don't try to call me out on some BS about how I am living in the suburbs. I spend more time in Detroit versus where I live. I spend more time in Ypsilanti doing things for Black kids there. So what's your point?
Okay, so Listen, listen, y'all listening. All of us have some things that we're very passionate about. And Eric is very passionate about education. But I do think that on this show, Detroit Black and White, the reason we allow people to have comments, the reason we invite people to come into the room, because they have different opinions. I don't, we shouldn't take it as a personal attack. And so,
I mean, it's a personal attack. I mean, don't tell me that I'm subliminally hating on black kids.
Look, I'm not gonna do this. Okay, so we're not gonna go back and forth. I'm just saying that sometimes in this case, with all of us, these people don't know us. Jim has been in a position where Jim has said some things on the show and people took it a certain way. It was not the way that he intended it for it to come across, or they misinterpreted, whatever the case may be. Same with me. And so all I'm suggesting is, look, bring it down. We all know that you're very passionate about education in the urban areas. And we all know that you not only talk the talk, you walk the walk. Okay. So
his frustration is obvious. We get the frustration, and I think that sometimes might get misinterpreted a little bit.
Absolutely.
Janet, thank you. Janet, she said she hears compassion. Thank you, Eric, for caring. Queen Bee, opinions are, everybody has one, right or wrong, but we want to embrace opinions on this show. This is where we come to share our opinions. Thank you, Queen Bee. I support other city issues, Kenneth. And Les says, I appreciate your pushback. So, only one school board member voted against giving Dr. Vitti a raise. Dorian, the entire school system in the United States is inherently flawed from the get-go. It will never be in the best interest of the children when you want them to be programmed to just work. You sound a little bit like me, Dorian. Thank you. And it's Day. Hello, Day. Good to see you. Kenneth Powell, there was a comment. Someone get Vanessa some cough drops. Well, that's Day, that's what we need you for. Unfortunately, life isn't fair. Some parents fail their own children. Marlon, that's a great point. I'm trying to grow fruits in the dirty soil. Kenneth Powell and vegetables. Trump, we talked about Tamari's point. There was one other point that I wanted to catch real quick, and I think that was Queen Bee that said something about the airport. And who named the airport the terminal for Warren Evans? We know who named that for Warren Evans. It was Warren Evans. Anyway, anything else? What's your opinion on Trump insulting the Prime Minister, Mr. 1213 of Japan? I thought that was really dumb. I mean, that was classless. And for the president to say that, talking about Pearl Harbor in front of the Prime Minister that's outrageous. It just, she has nowhere to go and nothing to do and no way to defend herself. That's like jumping on a guy that just got knocked out in the 12th round and then punching him again. I don't get that one at all. Where I believe the 48th state, as far as we are the 48th out of 50 states. I think Eric said 44th, for somewhere in the 40s, right? George Crockett was a true Detroiter for black residents. Ben Carson was not. Less is more. My shoe leather is worn out protesting. Other ways nowadays, we get those injuries, Kenneth. I can relate to that. And there's Derek Henry. Hello, Derek. He said good evening, and we don't know where he is. He disappeared. It's a good thing DPS removed his name. The school is not educating to a standard. Ms. Sheila, well, that's an interesting point. Thank you.
Actually, she's in the studio, Miss Sheila.
Oh, she is.
She's in the studio. Hey, Miss Sheila.
Hey, you guys. How are you?
Oh, we're fine. Thank you for coming on into the room.
I'm passionate about education myself, too. So, Eric, I just wanted to piggyback on the fact that nobody that I've seen in the school systems now, they don't teach the standards. I remember when I was going to Eastern, which is a long time ago, when I was doing my student teaching, they taught the test, okay? That's what they did. They taught the test. And it blew my mind. I was in Ann Arbor doing my student teaching. Detroit don't teach the test. That's how you can pass the test. If that makes sense to you guys.
So they're just trying to get through the process, is what you're saying, Miss Sheila. It's only
Hello?
about the process. It's not about education.
Right. My thing is teach what they need to know. All the rest of the fluff is fluff. But they dealing with a lot of behavior issues. You got to remember that. And the kids that go to school just for regular ed are not equipped for the teachers in special needs, because they teach them how to deal with, behavior. If that makes sense to you guys. And Miss Vanessa, I just want to say to you, I contacted you and I haven't had no response from the.
Okay, so this is what I need for you to do, because you got my number. I'm in court a heck of a lot. So this is what I'm going to ask you to do. Text me and say, Vanessa, answer the phone. If I don't answer, I will respond by text.
Oh,
So now
that's what
you
I
know.
did. I text you. I
Good.
text you back.
When did you text me? Because I'm getting ready to look right now.
I text you. I text you.
Text me again.
Okay. But I
Like,
text you.
text me right now.
Oh, okay. Okay. I could do that too. I could do that too. But
Capital letters.
I want to know, I write in big letters so I could see, but
I just make my font bigger on my phone.
yeah, I like it big. I
Look,
like
I
it.
don't want to be one of those people. I called you and you never answer your phone. That somebody told me that
No.
earlier today. And I said, you know what? And this is the truth. I'm in court every single day. I'm working as a public defender. And I'll give you an example of what happened today. Today I started off thinking I only had one matter and I forgot to put stuff on my calendar. I ended up having 5 matters and I ended up going to the jail to visit 2 clients. So 5, 6, 7 matters. I didn't walk into this house for the end of my day until 10 minutes before 7. So,
Okay.
looking at that phone, I see it hasn't come through. Do you have the right number?
You wrote it down.
Because there's nothing to come through.
It say this me.
Nope.
No, I got the number that you wrote down. So
Maybe you can't read my writing. So this is what we're gonna do. You and
I want to know about your events. I know you got an event.
So let's pivot. Let's move a little bit into your event and tell our viewers what's going on, Vanessa.
I'm trying to figure out how we're gonna do this. No, it's not here. Nothing.
Yeah. You wrote it in your handwriting.
I'm sure, but I write fancy.
So
okay. Why
Okay.
don't you do this? If we can do this, when we go off the air, I was supposed to be gone by 9 o'clock, but when we go off the air, can you stay on and we could talk once that we're off air? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right, babe.
She
Okay.
can also send you a direct message on the comment section. She can send it directly to you.
Yeah, but I don't want everybody to have her number.
No, she can send it directly to you. It wouldn't go to everybody.
How?
She click on your name. She can send a direct message to you.
On the screen?
In the comment section.
Oh, okay.
You see her name and you could send her direct message.
Oh, wow. I'm gonna try it. But whatever. Let everybody know your event.
Go on to people, Miss Sheila. Go on to people, and you'll see my name, Jim name, Detroit in black and white, and Vanessa name. Then you can click on her name and send her a direct message.
Okay. All right. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Y'all. Okay. Take care.
Dorian Denard says that part. Marlon Holt 40. Queen B, she can text and wait for Vanessa to respond. Less is more. Allowing our black students to be educated by racist school systems is the problem. Les, that's probably one of the problems. I don't know if that's the whole problem.
That's not the problem.
Kenneth Powell. Dorian Denard says, a fellow black man of a certain age, I don't want you to stroke out over there. Relax, brother. Let people have their opinions. It's okay. And we're a family here, Dorian. Thank you for your comments. You're right. We all care about the same things, right? And sometimes we argue from different viewpoints, but I think we all care about the same things. I think somebody said earlier, who was it, that why can't we be one America? I think it was maybe Marlon. I'll double check. but we all care about the same things. We just need to figure out a way to achieve what we need to achieve in this country, and it can come from anywhere. That's the problem today. If you don't line up with the brainwashed group, you're a bad person, and that's got to end. That's got to end soon, right? We can agree to disagree, but we need all of us to solve the problems. Not one or two people can solve all of our problems, and that includes education. That includes violence and crime, and there's too much hate right now. And Day's somewhere too. I see Day coming on. There's a couple things I want to talk about too, but there's Day.
Good evening.
What's going on, Day?
Not much. What's the word? What's up, Eric?
Hey, what's up?
How you doing, Miss Moss?
Hello, how are you?
What's going on in your world? What are you
fine.
thinking on? What you asked a question a couple shows ago about the budget, and that's on my list. The budget and buses that I think somebody asked about. Terry McCrimmon, and he's not here tonight, but we never got to talk about the buses, the system of buses. But go ahead. What did you want to talk about the budget about?
Not just about the budget. I don't know if you all have moved on for the education, but the education is a real big thing. Number one, we have the state of Mississippi. Me and Eric talk about this all the time on Facebook. So the state of Mississippi is the prime example platform to utilize to implement into the state of Michigan, especially the city of Detroit. Our education system should not be the way it is, especially with us using the slogan at the University of Michigan saying that we are the leaders and the best. You are not the leaders and the best if your education is in the bottom 5 nationally. We have Hillsdale University. We have too many prestigious universities. We have too many prestigious people. We have students that's going to school that we can have replace the teachers, do internships, do externals. Eric Brown is a fellow of one of the best educational institutions in the state of Michigan for Cranbrook. So there's no excuses for us to be where we are at as a state, city, municipalities. There's no excuses for this. As taxpayers, there's no excuse for this.
So
and Dave brings up a good point, because again, in 2016, when those students from Osborne High School sued the state of Michigan for quality education, they got no support from the parents, PTAs, the school district, teachers. And again, Jim, I told you during the break, the lawyers that took on that case were out of the state of California. Right. Why were there no lawyers in the city of Detroit? Where were the parents? So to say that, you have a racist school system teaching black kids, that's not true.
Right.
And I think people come up with these excuses, but my question, I do a lot of speaking when it comes to education. My question is this: where are you all at that are criticizing me at these meetings? Because sometimes I'm the only black man. You might have 20 black women, right. So don't come checking me about something you're not doing and then blaming it on racism. No, you can't. We can't keep using racism as an excuse. Yes, we know racism exists, but that's not the excuse why in 23 cities in Macomb County, black kids are at the bottom of the totem pole. And that's not racism. In the city of Detroit, you have Hispanics and Middle Easterners performing better than black students in English on the standardized test. That's not racism. So we got to be true to ourselves. If we're going to fix a problem, get involved and get in the game. Go to some of these schools. I just got you talking about a kindergartner, 6 weeks away from the end of the school year, can't even count to 20. That's not racism. That's a parent problem, a black parent problem.
Hey, well, Les is really muting you now, Eric. Go ahead.
Hey, Big Jim, the word I like to use as a cognitive dissonance culture that's been passed down through DNA for centuries. And unfortunately, the parents of today, I've been in past relationships and I've witnessed women go to their teenagers, 15, 16 years old, and ask their children, are you going to school? What do you think that child gonna say? Ain't never brought a report card home. Prom day come, homecoming come, buying them $1,500 worth of clothes. So what are they learning? If you're rewarding your child for doing nothing, they're going to continue to do nothing. So it's a household, like Eric said, it's a household thing. Unfortunately, it's a culture thing for people of copper colored skin. So we can't be riding Eric Brown, because Eric Brown, what we all know, he just don't talk. He also walk it out. So, you know, we have to come together and stop talking and put the action behind the talk. And we got these people who are in position, unfortunately, who are blackballing Eric Brown, who has all the skill sets, but because they don't want to deal with his attitude, forget all that, because the people who in the position, what are they doing? We keep putting the same people in position over and over again, Big Jim. And what they say about doing the same thing over and over again, what would it come out to be? Insanity.
Results never change.
Insanity, which leads to chaos. And I think our state is been in chaos for centuries, not centuries, decades.
It seems like forever, right?
And I'm not blaming black people, Les. I'm demanding that black people do better by their black kids and educate and ensure that they get an education. So if you call that blaming black people, that's on you. That's something you got to deal with in your insecurities. I'm not blaming black people. I'm telling black people they need to do better by their black kids, and they need to demand better. They need to be at the school board meetings. They need to be voting.
Oh man,
a city where only 22% of the people voted in the last election. So yeah, I'm going to demand of black people. You can choose to blame black people or interpret that as me blaming black people. No, I'm demanding that black people do better. I'm a black person.
Thank you. I want to get a couple comments, and I want to. Edward's been waiting for. Sorry, Edward, for a week to address his issue, and we need to do that. Education, what's that? Less is more. I clicked on your name, Miss Vanessa. Eric is speaking his truth. We good. 60 years ago, there were not many kindergartners who couldn't count to 20. Mr. 12, 13, thank you. Nursery rhymes, Kenneth, thank you. Tamari Kemet, I'm just going to say her whole name again. No one can teach black children.
I got to say something about that.
Queen Bee Day is on a roll, Miss Sheila. Okay, that's us. That's one of us. It starts with the parents, Marlon Holt. Putting more emphasis on wardrobe than brain power, Queen Bee, not making them go to school. Education is regurgitated, learn. Kenneth Powell, 2145. They say that rewarding kids for bad behavior. Schools today are traps, less is more. Universities are notoriously racist. Tamari.
Oh, hey, Big Jim, let me say something about that word. Okay. My mother taught me about the word. My mom is a graduate from the University of Michigan. My mother taught me, she said, we the people, this ain't got nothing to do with no race. Throw the word racism and discrimination too loosely. When we have to understand something. Right now, I have an all-black jacket on. Now, if I was racist to the color black, I would not have this on. I don't care if it was cold or whatever. So what we actually do, and all of us do it, it's not, we discriminate. So we got to stop using that word racist, because when you racist to something, and most of the time when people use that word racist, they're talking about a culture.
And it could be cultural, but I'm going to finish Tamari's comment. They continue to espouse racist concepts about history. For instance, Jewish slaves built the pyramids when there were no Jews when the pyramids were built. Sad, Kenneth Powell, 2145. Derek Henry. Derek always has something good to say. Preach, Eric, but he doesn't say much tonight. He's kind of laid back tonight. Thank you, Derek, for participating. We talked about that comment. Maybe it's Greek fraternities. Les has got the needle out there. He's needling you just a little bit. More of them. You don't know the deal, Eric. Mom of M, Kenneth Powell. Too much focus on education, not enough of oligarchs and their racism. Thank you, Detroit Stand Up. Edward had asked about the bus system, so that's where we are.
I mean, Big Jim just disappeared, y'all.
Oh, I don't know what the heck's going on.
Something's
going on. We're just flopping around there, but Edward had a concern about the bus system in Detroit. And I saw tonight on the news that $57 million for connecting the 43 communities in Wayne County to Detroit. That doesn't solve the Detroit bus issue. So, who wants to talk about the bus issue? Thoughts? Detroit. Go ahead. Detroit wasn't, because of the automobile, I think, is a big reason that I know my dad, when he worked at whatever it was before his Tiger Stadium, Briggs Stadium, rode a streetcar.
Yeah.
So, but busing, the buses, it's just never really been a big deal in Detroit. Vanessa?
No, I'm busy trying to.
Oh, okay. Eric, hey, who wants to talk about?
I'm sorry.
The bus system. The bus system. Number one. Now I understand people use the bus system. It's transportation, queue line, the rail line. We've never been known for transit in the city of Detroit. That's never been an infrastructure focus. Because if it was, best believe they would have came up with a way.
But the people, the queue line and the people mover, those are just distractions. That's I know Vanessa takes the people mover, sometimes the court, but that's not really transportation.
No, I wasn't, Big Jim. I wasn't you. I was just saying.
No, but that's an example.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that.
I rode buses when I went to high school. When I went to my private school downtown, that's no longer Quakers. The Quaker school called Friends. When I went to that private school, I had to catch the bus from the west side of Detroit and take the desk to the MAC and go and ride up Lafayette to go to school. So I've had to ride the buses. And yes, the bus system, truthfully today, the DOT, the DDOT, let me say it correctly, they have a good system now. They have a mobile app. It shows you on the app the location of the bus. They have the signs at the bus stations. You can type in, and on your phone, on the satellite, it will actually show you the location of the bus. You don't even have to leave your home. You can sit there and time the bus by the schedule now in today's Detroit.
And there's a lot of communities around this country that you can do that. And people can depend on the bus for transportation to get to work. And that's just not true in Detroit. I think that's probably what Edward's point was. Les Moore says Disneyland trolleys. I couldn't have put it any better than that. They're like people who were in a queue line are like toys. They're like, they're like getting on the train at Cedar Point to go around the island.
So I used to catch the bus. I caught the bus for a very long time. And I would get to my destinations. I know the bus lines. Some of them have changed, but I don't think the bus system was ever really designed to work the ideal way that people, would want them to work. I agree with Jim. You have, what we're living in the Motor City. You have, there was never any real promotion for bus transportation. They want people behind the wheel of a vehicle, an SUV, a car, that kind of thing. And so while there are some people who do not have the means of having transportation, a car, SUV, or whatever, I think the drive here was really for people to get a car. If you live here, anybody can get a car that lives here. Now, you may not want to pay, will somebody else pay for a vehicle, but anybody can get a vehicle in this area. And so to me, it's not shocking. I mean, I think it was Queen Bee said you lose a job depending on the bus.
It's not dependable mass transportation for sure.
I don't think the focus was ever really that we were supposed to have reliable mass transportation. I just don't believe it. And
but if you go to Chicago or Minneapolis or a lot of cities.
Well, because of the big three.
When I was in Chicago a few months back, I think I told you guys, I got off the train, I walked across the street, I bought my little ticket, and I caught 3 buses to get to my hotel. I had no problem with it, none. And the buses was running just like that.
They were there when they were supposed to be there.
If that would happen, if you get off a train station here, for what is that, Milwaukee or the Boulevard area, and or even if you want to take the bus right here from the Greyhound, the Greyhound station. I don't
Yeah.
know if you're able to, able to get a bus just like that.
But
That was
will
by
it ever change? Will it ever change? DC is great. Queen Bee mentions Queen Bee, Washington D.C.
No, it won't change, Jim. The big
Go ahead,
three
Eric.
never intended for there to be a mass transit system here beyond the buses and taxi cabs. Now that they're no longer here, Detroit still has an opportunity to extend the Q line all the way to Pontiac, which has been talked about.
Yeah.
But you still have a problem with, I'm not sure what they call smart, if they still call it smart. They don't even run everywhere. Some communities don't even want smart in their communities, which is another way to say they don't want certain people to catch the bus to their communities to get for jobs.
And here's the problem. You could live at 7 Mile and Gratiot is or Woodward and not get, I was going to say the rent cent. Nobody works there anymore, but you could not get to any of the city county building. You could, if you had an 8 o'clock, you worked at 8 o'clock. There is no way you could depend on that transportation to get to your job on a daily. You're going to, like Queen Bee says, you're going to lose your job if you count on.
Right, it's a gamble. It's a roll of the dice.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate because, like Vanessa said, she was in Chicago. If you're in Washington, D.C., and you get on the train, you know where you're going. You know where you're getting off the train. Chicago, Minneapolis has got a great system. It seems like a newer city. I mean, it's old, but Minneapolis is still being developed.
I mean, LA, Chicago. Vanessa, you're right. In Chicago, you could take the L train as far west and as far north as to Waukegan, Illinois, which is close to the border of Wisconsin, and we don't have that here. They have the new Detroit Ann Arbor to Detroit bus, and it stops at Metro Airport. It leaves downtown Detroit, right. Metro Airport to Ann Arbor, and vice versa. But we don't have it where you can go. Look how much it costs people to go visit their friends and relatives in prison. You don't have a direct line to even get to Jackson, Michigan.
Les Moore just made the comment that I was about to say. Look at the cities that you're all referring to. The census that they saying about the city of Detroit, they say we got 600-some thousand people. I don't believe that. But we're comparing the city of Detroit to metropolitan cities. That Chicago and DC, they're running 24 hours a day. You cannot put Detroit in the same framework as those cities and expect, number one, the history of our city to produce that type of mass transit, which they never had, and the city of Detroit was never designed to be a cosmopolitan city. If you study the history of our state from 1701 to right now to 2026, we were never designed structurally for that.
We gotta go. Tamari, Queen Bee, DeBragg, mass transit, and the racist suburbs didn't want black. I think that there's truth to that, DeBragg. Thank you for your comment.
And who put the comment? I think it was Vanessa. It's by design. Was that you, Vanessa, with that comment? Yeah. It's by design. Poverty is by design. Homelessness is by design. Miseducation is by design.
And I don't know if we answered your questions, Edward. You disappeared, so I don't know if we talked about what you wanted to talk about. Maybe we can get somebody from the Detroit bus system and find out why it is what it is. But go ahead, Vanessa. Close.
Well, listen, it's 9:34. It's time for us to go. I was supposed to leave at 9 o'clock.
Bye.
Let me hurry up and get
Bye.
on out of here.
Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
I miss you, Vanessa. I got to mess with you.
I know. Listen, we want you guys to join us tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Detroit in Black and White. Thank you so much for joining us. Miss Sheila, I didn't see whatever. Eric tried to direct me on how to find it. I hope you're still around. Just stay for a minute.
All
right. Goodbye.
Thank you, family. That's our family out there. We can fight, but let's all be friends.
Tell McShane
Sherry Charlie, on April the 6th, my panel will include all teachers.
Okay.
One from California, one from North Carolina, two from the metropolitan Detroit area. You can pose your question to them with regards to it's not the parents' fault. They will probably have a different answer than what you think, but parents play a role in educating their kids.
I saw.
And I don't buy the Detroit's too. I don't buy the bus system doesn't work because Detroit was the 5th or 6th biggest city in the country. So that's
once upon a time.
Yeah. So, and it never worked. So thanks, Edward, for your point. Thank you, everybody. Good night.